Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Whalen and Brad Lea is dropping bombs.
What it is, Brad Lea back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, I got you a treat. I've got you a treat fresh out of Utah. Sean Whalen's decided to show up on his way down to the Baja 1000.
What's up, man?
Appreciate you swinging through.
I love it.
I'm a bit jealous on your destination though.
It's gonna be freaking rad.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
Have
fun.
you ever done it?
Yeah, this is my fourth time.
Yeah.
So we raced it last year.
You just pedaled to the metal the whole time?
Yeah, and then I broke my truck.
Yeah,
So,
well, it breaks a lot of trucks.
I've raced the Baja 500 twice, and this will be my second 1000. And I've only finished one of them. We took second place last year, my very first Baja 500. Yeah, I'm actually pretty good. I'm finding out at almost 40 years old that I'm actually a pretty good off-road racer.
Don't you just hit go?
Oh, yeah.
And not stop?
Yeah, we lost the brakes. I'm like, fuck it, we don't need those. We just keep going.
I bought a Raptor. They're telling me that that's the only truck standard off the line that could actually finish that race.
I'd break it pretty freaking quick. You'd have it broken within like the first 10 miles.
Yeah.
But I understand why they sold you that. They told you that to sell you the truck, but
it
would break.
The only reason I bought it is because it looks fucking
They look
sick.
dope.
Yeah.
They look
There's
rad.
no truck that looks like it. I think driving around the streets when I see people in another truck, I kind of feel bad for them. Like,
They're
I'd be
without
embarrassed.
question the coolest.
I'd be embarrassed. It's like walking around with a 13-inch dang.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
for
I'd
sure.
be embarrassed for the rest of y'all.
I feel you, bro.
So let me ask you a question, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard Dropping Bombs?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay,
I follow your stuff and listen, and
So you know what it's
You know?
about then. We just shoot the shit and hopefully
that's what we do.
Well, not hopefully. I'm sure this episode will be filled, but when you hear
I'm
this,
certain.
and you can talk right through a bomb too.
Yeah.
That just tells the bomb squad to listen up.
Yeah, for sure.
And pay attention. Now, folks, for those of you that don't know who Sean is, which would probably be very few of you,
You got to have your head buried in the sand or not be on social media.
yeah, he's all over social media, and you know his videos get shit tons of views. Shit tons.
Shit tons.
What's your biggest, most viewed?
It was the video that I did after the Florida school shooting. It's got like 110 million views. It was pretty. I was driving home, and I was supposed to do a photo shoot that night, and had been really busy all day, which is. I'm normally checking social media or checking the media throughout the day, whatever. It's like the one day that I didn't have a chance to even look at my phone with meeting to meeting. And as I'm driving home, we were going to do a photo shoot with a bunch of guns with my buddy, who his wife was in Miss Olympia, the whole thing. Long story short, I'm getting gas. I'm almost to my house. I'm calling him like, hey, homie, where are we meeting? I'm going to pick up my 50 cal, all my guns. He's like, dude, did you hear? I said, no. He's like, go check the media. So I jump on Drudge Report. I see what happened. I get home, and I had watched one little snippet of one little interview, and I just did this 2-minute rant and posted it. And it ended up, I was like compared to Tommy Lauren. You know you made it when your face is next to Tommy Lauren and some liberals like trashing you. But yeah, that video's got over 100 million views. It was crazy. It was insane.
What happened after that?
Oh, dude, I've never had so much hate, but at the same time, like so much support. You know, because I talked about, and this kind of goes along with what we were talking about before. My rant, the part of the video that I saw was them interviewing kids. It was all the media interviewing these kids, and all these kids were like, yeah, we kind of knew this kid was going to do something stupid. We all knew. There was all these kids saying that shit, and as a father, I'm sitting there like, well, you know, we've built a culture in a society where we can't say anything, right? If you call a kid weird, then you're the one who's going to get in trouble for objectifying some kid or calling him weird because he's weird, right? And so we don't say anything anymore. And that was my rant. I'm like, dude, this is bullshit. If some kid's drawing swastikas and death to my teacher in his locker, you little fuckers need to say something about that. You know what I mean? And that was basically the premise of the rant.
Yeah.
And, you know, tons of people didn't like that and said that I was blaming the children. And, dude, people are they're fucking nuts. People are absolutely, legitimately nuts.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with that. What pisses me off, though, is like, I've said I'll donate a virtual training system to teach all the teachers how to spot a potential problem.
Yeah.
Because there's signs.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to take me up on it. Like I don't fucking get it.
Dude, I had a ton of teachers reach out the support of the video. You know, I mean, we've got a culture now where we don't say anything. You know, we were talking about this before about telling the truth. Like, we just don't say anything because we don't want to offend somebody, right? Somebody's this color or this ethnicity or this religion or what. So we just don't say anything, even if somebody's fucking nuts. And there was all of these kids who had said, like, literally were interviewed saying, we knew this kid was going to, if anybody was going to shoot up a school, it was going to be Homeboy. And all of these kids knew it, but nobody said anything, right? And then, of course, you know, weeks later, we find out FBI had been contacted and the school knew and whatever. But it was just like, in that moment, I was just so freaking enraged because that's legitimately the culture that we've built, is not saying anything. And to me, that's why so many people are unhappy. So many people are miserable. All-time drug use, all-time prescription drug use, male suicides at an all-time high. Why?
Is that why you ran for, what did you run for, Congress?
No, I just did that because I wanted to. I wanted to see how the system really worked. I found out really how fucked it was in doing that. So.
Oh, it's a machine, bro.
Oh, dude. It's so much more corrupt than I ever could have imagined. People ask me all the time, what'd you learn in running for Congress? And I learned just how corrupt it really is. I mean, we hear about it and you know about it and you read about it. I saw some of the shadiest shit I have ever seen in my entire life when I ran for Congress.
It's a business, and I think if anything if anybody went in there to actually fix it, they'd end up dead.
Oh, dude, it's when I ran, just to give you a little snippet of kind of when I talk about corruption, I ran as an unaffiliated candidate. So I wasn't an independent. Independent's actually a party. I wasn't a Republican. You know, I'm an independent conservative by nature. But I ran as an unaffiliated candidate, and there were 3 public televised debates, right? And this congressional was a special election because the guy who was in there stepped down, and so they were running the special election. And you had to poll high enough to get into the debates. And so all 3 of the debates, I polled at 0. Literally, I polled at 0. And in the general election, I actually beat the Libertarian candidate who had just polled high enough to make it into all 3 of the debates. So the Republican, the Democrat, and then the Libertarian all qualified for all 3 of the debates, and then come into the general election, and I destroyed the Libertarian. So when you step back and you look at that, like, no one wanted me in those debates. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wanted me to go debate the Republican or the Democrat or have kind of the wild card Sean Whalen show up. And so literally I polled at 0. So people that watch these polls, and this is the same company by chance who had Hillary Clinton winning by 13 points the day of the election in 2016. So go figure. It's corrupt, dude. The whole system's corrupt.
I think if I were president, I'd end up dead because I'd fix the shit. I'm serious. Like, they'll kill you. Yeah. It's a big money machine.
Yeah.
And if I were president, I said on my last podcast or the one before that, I might just run for president. Why?
Do it.
Why? A, so you go down in history as a presidential candidate. But B, because you never know. Mm-hmm. Like, if you actually won the presidency, would you think you could fix it?
No,
because I don't think the president's in charge.
No,
I think that's fraudulent too.
No, but here, look.
Just like our vote. You think our vote counts?
Well, I mean, look at how much corruption there is. I mean, we could talk politics
but why do we
all
go
day
vote?
long.
Most of it's electoral college, right?
Right.
So
the
our
popular
vote doesn't matter.
I've thought about that. Like, what would it be like if we had the popular vote? How cool would it be? You know, whatever. But if you look at, for instance, you winning, me winning, just some regular jackass who's an entrepreneur, built a business, made his millions, did his deal, and was like, all right, I'm in. That's Trump. That's Trump.
That's
Homeboy's losing money. Like, I don't care if you like him or don't like him, what side of the aisle you're on, but if you look at what he's doing, and I said the day that he announced his candidacy, I said that he would win by a landslide, which he did, and I said that you would see the dismantling of the two-party system, which we're seeing right now. You're seeing a fractioning of this two-party system that we have. You're seeing, like, disdain for that office like we've never seen before with any president, including Clinton, including when he was impeached. We've never seen anything like this. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's freaking amazing because it's waking people up to, like, what the fuck's really going on right now, right? He's getting people to, like, I mean, the whole Jim Acosta thing. Did you see the Jim Acosta deal?
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen a reporter, like, throw that much shit at a president in your life?
No.
Have you ever seen that much? Like, they're not even reporting news anymore. It's literally like, I'm in this room and I'm just here to attack him. And that's why he doesn't do this shit anymore. Because he's like, dude, you fuckers aren't reporting the news. You're just here to attack me. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. I think it's beautiful. I think it's exactly what the country needs.
Yeah, well, I voted for Trump, I will say. Actually, I gotta back one up. I didn't necessarily like Trump, like fucking Trump.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of embarrassing when you say Trump, orange hair and like just kind of a goofball.
Yeah.
But a businessman, that's all I cared about.
Right.
Like, because it's a business. And
Country's a business.
Yeah, and these politicians before, they weren't running it like a business. They're running it like a fraud.
Right.
So I just wanted a non-politician, and
Yeah.
he was the only one. So that was Trump. And then I said, we'll see if he actually lowers taxes. He did. Well, but what I don't understand is, how do you believe what's going on? Over here, you hear people that are for Trump. Oh, he's killing it. Lowest unemployment, this, that, and the other thing. Then over here, no, that's not true. It's this, that, and the other thing. Which one's true?
Yeah.
Is he killing it or not?
Dude, this is where I think, what you and I were talking about earlier, this is where I take in all the media. I watch them all, right? They're all as crooked. Fox is just as crooked as CNN. CNN is just as crooked as Fox. I mean, there's no right media outlet at all. They're all doing the exact same thing. They're getting paid to get your eyeballs. And that's it. And they'll say anything to get your eyeballs. So what I do is I collect all the data, and then I figure out, like, based off my moral standing, based off who I am, what I want, where I'm going, like what works, what doesn't, what's real, what's not. Some of this stuff I think is becoming so transparent. I think that's the beauty of social media and really how he won. Think about transparency. We all knew, okay? We knew that Trump loved pussy. We knew Trump loved boobs. We knew that Trump loved women. For the last 30 years, that dude has been the same dude for that entire period of time. So when he decides to run, what are you going to do? Google him and find some skeleton in his closet? He was so transparent, there was nothing there. Oh, we found an audio recording of him saying some locker room bullshit that all of us have said, that millions and millions and millions of men have said. So what was it? Like, that's the beauty of this transparency. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I think there's so much resistance in the media, is he's calling them out, saying, you guys are full of shit. And they're actually proving themselves that they're full of shit in so many instances where nobody's had the balls to do that before. Like you said, he's not a politician.
What do you think is going to happen? Civil war?
I don't know.
I don't think it'll go that far.
No. If you remember back, and this is funny, we're talking politics. I love it. I mean, this is why I love podcasts. You have no idea where it's going to go. Think back to the very first question of the Republican debate. This is where I said, like, I did the beauty of social media is you can go back and see what people said and what they really said. I said that literally the entire election was over. The very first question, the very first Republican debate, you remember what it was? There was all 16 of the candidates, right? And they have Trump right in the middle, the featured guy. You got Cruz, you got Rubio, you got everybody up on the stage. And they're sitting there, and it's kind of like the torpedo is right there pointed at Trump. They're like, we're going to nuke him right out of the gates. We're going to fucking obliterate him with the very first question. The very first question was, which of you, if you didn't get the Republican nomination, would run as an independent? And you can hear, because Trump basically said, fuck the parties. He's like, I'm running to save this country. I'm running to make this country great again. And if you remember, one hand went up. Like, he's at the Republican debate, the very first Republican debate.
He got fried on that.
They freaking laughed, and you should have seen the other politicians. Every other candidate was laughing their ass off, like looking at each other, like elbowing each other. Ha ha ha! Here's the freaking goofy clown, and he fucking
doesn't belong here.
But that's the beauty. He was so transparent that it was almost like this shock to America. Like, this is crazy Uncle Larry. But crazy Uncle Larry happens to be right every time. Crazy Uncle Larry's balling, making bank, building businesses. And even though we think his antics are insane and they're nuts, the only reason we met with North Korea is because of Twitter. That's the reason. Like, everybody was telling him, shut it down. Every single thing this cat has done is exposed truth. It's opened this entire conversation up of the media, of politics, of where we really are and where we're going as a nation. I think that's what's so beautiful about the conversation. It's what we needed. We've just been lulled to sleep for the last 50 years with the same old rhetoric, the same old bullshit. Here comes crazy Uncle Larry going, no, you know what? I would run as an independent, and fuck all of you guys if you don't like it. People are like, you can't say that. Well, he did, and he won. And he's going to win in 2020 by a landslide, by the way.
I would agree.
Put your money on it.
Well,
landslide.
I wonder if there is any lines. But the truth that resonated with you like that transparency, and that's what you built your whole company on.
Yeah.
Is tell the truth.
Yeah.
Which, again, you can go back in my shit and see that I'm a proponent of truth.
Yeah.
People are afraid to be judged. Agreed?
100%.
Why is that?
I was doing an event not too long ago, and I asked everybody, say, how many of you have like screwed some shit up? Like, how many of you have like made mistakes in life? Every single person raised their hand. I said, how many of you are like me and you fucked a lot of shit up? Like, you've made a lot of mistakes in life, and basically everybody raised their hand. See, people aren't afraid to make a mistake. People are like, I'm afraid to start this business. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to fail. You've already failed. Like, anybody listening to this that says they've never failed is a fucking liar. Most people have failed a lot, whether it's relationships, business, life, fitness, whatever it is. We've failed so many times. We're not afraid to fail because we're actually pretty good at it. We're still alive. We're still kicking. We're still moving. What people are deathly afraid of is being judged. They're being judged for falling down. They're being judged for saying the wrong thing, so they say nothing instead. Yep. They're being judged for losing money, so they just stay at the same 9-to-5 job, not doing what they want to do, not living the life they want to live. Not because they're afraid of losing money, because chances are they've already done it at some point in time in life. So they've already been there. They've already done that, and they know that they can recover from that. What people are deathly afraid of is being judged by other people.
Why do you think that is? You were saying it earlier. We were raised that way.
Yeah, it's how we were raised, man. I mean, you and I were talking about this before. If you think back, and I don't really care the age demographic because everybody's the same way. Our public education system has been the same for the last 60 years. If you think back to when you were a little kid, right? Elementary school. Sit down, quiet down, slow down. I mean, you have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom, right? Like, we've been programmed to fit inside of this box. This is what normal looks like. And if little Johnny, little Bobby, little Brad, he's nutty, we'll just give him some medicine to get him to shut the fuck up and get back in the box. Now here you go from elementary school to middle school. And then the real insanity kicks in high school, when then all of a sudden you're programmed to say, okay, well, now what? Well, now to be a responsible adult, you have to go do this. This is what the box looks like. And so you got to go to college, and you got to get a degree, and then you got to get a job, and then you work for however long, and then maybe you get a gold watch and you roll over and you die. If you're super fortunate, you might be able to get a condo in Fort Lauderdale or something like that, and have a vacation home. But that's where we've been programmed. And so this idea of telling the truth, this idea of saying, well, I don't really like this, I want to go do this. You can't say that, because then the family thinks you're nuts. You're having a midlife crisis if you're like, I don't like my job anymore, I'm going to quit and I'm going to go start my dream. You can't do that. What about your 401k? What about your IRA? So we stay in this box. And I think that's really what's causing so much contention in the marketplace, is so many people are getting to that point where they're like, look, I'm 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. Like, I've done what I was told to do. I've followed this recipe that I was given since I was a little kid. I fucking hate it. Like, why am I not happy? Why am I not doing what I want to do? Why am I doing this? Legitimately, why am I doing this? This isn't what I wanted to do.
Or back in school, when you were called on for an answer and you were wrong, what was the response when you were wrong?
Oh, little kids laugh at you and, tell you you're dumb or whatever.
And the teacher says, no, sit down, someone else. So we're conditioned to like, we don't want to be wrong.
Right.
And we don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So people are afraid to start a business, not because they're necessarily afraid. They're afraid of being judged and laughed at and ridiculed.
Dude, I 100%. I told somebody this the other day. I said, listen, we live in the greatest, and this from a data and a technology standpoint, we live in the greatest day and age ever. I mean, we have access to anything. People are always complaining to me and comment on social media, it's so hard and you're lucky. And I grew up in a single parent home, right? It's hard to make money. It's hard to do all these things. I said, dude, if you go Google how to build a spaceship, NASA has blueprints how to build a fucking spaceship that are open, available to the public. Blueprints to build a spaceship. You want me to believe that you don't have the ability to say, how do I start a business? How do I sell all the shit in my basement or in my attic or in my garage or whatever? You literally have every single answer to literally pretty much every single question, except where's God kind of a deal. You have the answer to every single question at your fingertips. So what's your excuse? Why are you still sitting in this box? Why are you still living here? And it's because of the way we've been conditioned.
So you specialize in coaching people through that, breaking it.
Yeah, I help people tell the truth. Lions Not Sheep came from my own story, came from my own fall, if you will. And I did that. I had 171 employees. I had a huge office and had all of the labels of success. Real estate. So we were flipping more real estate than pretty much anybody else in the country. When the market crashed, it was a beautiful thing. Like, we were buying houses all over the place. And I was working 20 hours a day, and I was doing what I thought, the hustle grind that we see all over social media. And this is what success looks like. And I talk about in my book how I felt like I was juggling bowling balls. I have home life and the wife and the family and the kids, and this is like this weight over here. And then I have the business, and then I have marketing, and then I have the future, and then I have all of these employees and all of this other stuff. And I felt like I was juggling bowling balls. And then one day I quit juggling them, and I let them fall, and spent a couple of years trying to figure out really who the hell I was, like why I was even here. And it was a pretty interesting journey. It was a pretty fun journey. And then I told the truth for the first time on this thing called social media, and it went crazy. It went viral. And that's kind of the beginning of where Lions Not Sheep came from. And I felt like it just came to me one day, the Lions Not Sheep, just this thought into my brain, and it kept pounding in my brain. And then I made a t-shirt. I called my buddy on a t-shirt company. I said, make me a t-shirt that says Lions Not Sheep. And then somebody saw it on social media and said, how do I buy it? And I'm like, hey, how do I sell t-shirts? And it just evolved into this thing where now it's a movement. It's a revolution of consciousness. It's like every single decision, everything you do, which is it? Are you being a lion or are you being a sheep? Are you doing what you've been told to do, or are you doing what the fuck you want to do? With everything, whether it's relationships, family, business, which are you? Are you a lion or are you a sheep? And it's the funniest thing to me is when people come up and they see the t-shirts and stuff like that, and they're like, Lions Not Sheep, what does that mean? And literally I look at them like, what do you think it means? And 99.9% of the time people are like, well, to be a lion, not a sheep. And I'm like, nailed it. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And so I went from kind of doing what I was told to do to doing what I wanted to do. And I found the most freedom, the most liberation than I can even explain. And that's what I help people do is live life on their terms.
Regardless of what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. I mean, what's weird? What's right? What's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Some people look at Trump and he's right or wrong morally because of what? Because of the way we've been programmed, because of the way our churches programmed us. Like, what is right and what is wrong? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we judge so many people based off of our own upbringing, our own psychology, our own morality.
Wars have started on.
That's what we start. Most wars start over God, fighting about a Bible that was written thousands of years ago. I mean, there's so much stuff that we've been programmed, this programming of sedation. And if you look at a lion, I mean, he just lays in the fucking field all day long and does whatever the hell he wants. When he wants to eat, he eats. If he wants to sleep, he sleeps.
I wish I was a graphic artist, because I was sitting at home one day. I saw one of your videos, and I went to Africa one time, and I was driving by actual lions just sitting there, and they're freaking crazy. And I got a picture of a lion that's just badass.
Hell yeah.
And I was wanting to do something with it and text it to you, but I don't have the meme creator, so I didn't. But man, I'm telling you, you that's exactly what lions do. And when they ready to go eat something, they don't sit there and stretch. And Tim Grover says, they don't warm up. When they see something, they just jump on it.
Yeah, they don't ask somebody, can I eat now? Is it time to eat? Can I go do this? Can I go do that? Can I go get a drink? Can I go whatever? They just go do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah, so what I want to know about the truth, like, for example, let's take kids. Some people think, you should go spend time with your kids. What about someone that doesn't even like that shit? Like, fuck the kids. They're annoying. Can't stand kids.
Kids are annoying.
I know, but
my son's sitting right here and he's freaking annoying as shit. Will's he's annoying as hell.
No, I know, but like an individual's truth could vary. Like, again, I like spending time with kids depending on what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't like little snot-nosed bratty kids that whine and cry and bitch and moan all day, because I think they should be spanked and thrown to their room.
That's what we do.
Someone told me not the other day. When I say the other day, by the way, it could mean fucking 5 years
10 years ago. Yeah, I'm the same way.
So the other day, this guy's, I tell him on I think it was a dropping bombs. I used to do these dropping bombs where I just tell you my opinion on shit. There's about 100 of them. A couple of them on Trump, before Trump was even elected, by the way. And I said, you should go check them out.
Prophecy, man. Yeah. You're prophesying.
Well, I mean, I was just saying, hey, listen, that whole grab him by the pussy.
Yeah.
Dude, if you listen to what they actually said, he wasn't advocating rape.
Yeah.
Like, that was just stupid shit.
Yeah.
He was basically saying, hey, when you get famous, you don't even have to talk to him. You just grab him by the pussy. It was so obvious that that's all he was doing is locker room talk.
Yeah.
But they literally, like, you were advocating rape.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem with our society. That was not advocating rape in anybody's mind, even the people that said it. Do you agree?
Totally agree. 100%, man. If you look at half that stuff, like me even saying to my son, like, I think he drives me nuts. He does drive me nuts, and I probably drive him nuts. And if you and I hung out enough, you'd probably drive me nuts, and I'd drive you nuts. Like, that's real shit. It's real talk. We just don't say any of this stuff anymore. And literally, like, this is what made it really, really, really funny. With that whole Trump thing, is it's like every single man on this planet has said some crazy shit like that. And if they say they haven't, they're freaking lying. I mean, it's just that simple. And that's the beauty of like what I do with Lions Not Sheep and coaching, is it's like, that's okay to say that. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to tell the truth. Like I was telling you, I was speaking
but that's the thing though. Everybody's truth gets so freaking deep. Like somebody's truth may not be someone else's truth.
Right.
So
but that's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah. So how do you find your truth? If the bomb squad's listening, they're thinking, frickin', how do I find my truth?
One of the hardest questions that I think any human being will try and answer is what I ask every single client up front is, what do you want? That's the hardest question for people to answer. I've sat down with multimillionaires, with dudes that are worth $300, $400, $500 million who have every single thing you could ever imagine. What do you want? And most people truly don't know. And so what we do is we fire off these rudimentary answers. I want freedom, right? Or I want more money. Or I want more time. Be like, motherfucker, there's 24 hours for everybody. You can't buy. Bill Gates is not buying extra days and buying extra time. So what do you really fucking want? And like for me, like I wanted to play. I wanted to buy a race truck and I wanted to play. That's what I wanted to do. So I built a business and I built a lifestyle around that. And I think when people stop worrying about what the fuck everybody else thinks. You hear Gary talk about this, and Andy and you and Ed, and everybody's talking about this, but like when you legitimately realize that no one's paying your fucking bills, like nobody's coming to save you. None of these assholes, like nobody really gives a shit about you anyways. Every single person you think is going to judge you has their own home and their own problems and their own bills and their own shit. You're worried about some motherfucker that literally doesn't even care about you. Literally. Especially on social media. They don't care about you. These people don't give a shit about you, whether you get laid tonight or don't, whether you eat lobster or whether you eat top ramen. No one fucking cares.
And if they do, it's the opposite. Meaning you do too well, then they care.
Dude.
They fucking care that they're hating, basically.
Even then, they're just popping off. People are popping off because they want to pop off. And at the end of the day, I ask my clients, what do you want? What do you really want? And then once you figure that out and you stop lying, you stop pretending that like it's cool to say this, or this, you get down to it and it's like, cool, go do that. And that's what I did. It's like, I did the 20-hour days. I did the huge office with all the employees. Shit, we were spending $35,000 a month on health insurance for my employees. And we bought this phone system. And I'll never forget, like, coming into the office and it was $75,000 phone system for all of our people. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? How do we spend that much money on phones? Like, let's just go down to Cricket and get a bunch of cell phones. That's how I thought. And, you couldn't do that. And I just didn't want that anymore. There's nothing appealing to me about that at this point in my life. So what do I want? I want to race my truck. I want to play with my kids. That's what I enjoy. Yeah, he drives the shit out of me, so do my other kids. But, like, I want to go ride horses with my daughter. That's truth. Well, Sean, you need to be responsible. What the fuck does that even mean?
Well, but
what does responsibility even mean?
To do that.
Right. So then what I decided is I figured out what I wanted, number one. Like, to me, this is the process. This is what I help my clients do, is figure that out first. And 95% of the people listening to this right now that already fired off some answer, you're full of shit. You got to figure out what you really, really, really want first. There's some people that really, truly enjoy going in, punching a clock. There's some people that truly, like, we can't knock the 9 to 5 all day long, or else we wouldn't have people answering the phones, right? Like, when you stop and really think about it. Well, you can knock it.
I'm telling the truth.
You can knock it, but there's some people that legitimately like that. There's some people that legitimately want to do that. And so I think this idea that everybody's going to be an entrepreneur, everybody's going to be a lion. If everybody was a lion, who would we eat? You know what I'm saying? There's got to be sheep. So at the end of the day, what I help my people and my clients and my tribe with Lions Not Sheep understand is that very first question: what do you really want?
It's hard to
figure out. And once you figure that out, it took me 2 years to figure that out. It took me 2 years to figure out that this entrepreneurial lifestyle that I believed was not what I really wanted. I had to burn everything to the ground to realize, okay, what I really want is this, is I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want. So what kind of business would I have to build to do that? And then I built my business. So it was figuring out who I was and what I wanted first, and then I built my business to serve that, to play that role.
Do you flip houses anymore?
No.
No real estate, or just no investing?
Nope, not right now.
Interesting. So you just tossed it all.
2 years ago, I sat down with a buddy of mine as stuff started going viral. I did that very first post when I kind of was going through my really dark shit and coming out of it and trying to build like a new reality. I talked about my divorce and how big of an asshole I was during my divorce, and that was kind of my very first post and went viral. And since then, I mean, hundreds of millions of views, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, and Lions Not Sheep just started blowing up. And I didn't really understand this coaching space. And all of a sudden, people were coming in and I started creating these coaching groups, and they were exploding and just growing and growing and growing. And I sat down with one of my buddies, and I had decided at the time that I wanted to get rid of all of my single-family homes, and I wanted to just focus on multi-unit. And so I said, hey, let me, one of my buddies who's a big guy. To me, there's money, and then there's private jet money. He's private jet money. There's the two categories of money. And we went to lunch, and we're sitting there drinking a beer, and I said, dude, I want you to help me understand, the cap stack better so that I can finance these and get rid of all my single families. And he's like, do you want the truth? And this is a guy that I respect. And I said, yeah. And he said, dude, go all in. He said, ride the wave. I'll never forget him saying that. Ride the wave with Lions Not Sheep. He's like, people love your message. They love who you are. They love the fact that you're leading from the front, that you're living the shit that you're preaching. And that gave me I instantly had the most amazing clarity, and I literally sold every single thing that I had there. He's like, dude, you've made money in up markets and down markets. I'd made money in real estate for my entire life. I had done very, very, very well in the mortgage industry, in the investment industry. When the market crashed, I lost millions of dollars, but I also made millions of dollars, right? And so he's like, dude, you can always make money in real estate, but which do you want to do? Like, what brings you the most passion every single day? He asked me literally, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to build this. And he's like, go all in. And in that moment, I chose Lions Not Sheep, and it's just exploded since then.
What if you had no money? What if you were broke?
Go get some. This is the thing that people think. They look at you or Andy or somebody with these Lambos and things and whatever. And imagine this for a second. If you're flat ass broke, like you got nothing, $5 is a big deal. Focus on making $5. And then turn $5 into $10. And then 10, I mean, Andy's a great story. I love Andy. You love Andy. Talking about making $7 his very first day in a supplement store, right? If somebody has no fucking money, right, like none, literally pick the lowest hanging fruit. Go into your basement, go into your garage, go into your neighbor's garage, knock on their door, say, hey, I'll take out all of your shit. Last year we were in North Carolina, and I went to a flea market, and I was like, I wanted to prove this to people because they think it's so fucking hard. And I went into this flea market, and I found a Cabbage Patch doll. And it looked like it was still in the box and the whole thing. I was like, this thing has to be worth some money. The dude was selling it for $10. I went on Amazon with my smartphone, which pretty much every single person listening to this has a smartphone. I don't even think they make dumb phones anymore. Hey, everybody's got a smartphone. I looked it up, and it was worth like $75 on eBay and Amazon. He was asking 10. I said, dude, I'll give you $5 for it right now. I have all this live. I literally streamed this live to prove to people that I could take $5 and turn it into $20. And I did, right there on the spot. So when you stop and think about it, like, people are so focused on, well, I don't have the mansion money. I don't have the jet money. Motherfucker, if you don't have any food, if you don't have any $5 to your name, go make $5. That's a fucking win. Now take that 5 and make it 10, and then make that 10 and make it 20. Before you know it, you actually have a couple bucks left at the end of the month after you're done paying your bills. That shit is success. That is freaking success.
Yeah, but if you figure out what you want to do, and it sounds like what you want to do, shit, I want to play.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not prepared to go play if you got no money.
Right.
Like you got to pay some dues a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. But you have to be clear on what you're doing. I love working.
And what you're doing it for.
Exactly. And that's my whole game plan is like, I don't want to die with millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in the bank. I want to like literally be like kicked back on my deathbed, which chances are I never will. I'm going to like die in my race truck or blow myself up with too much tannerite or some stupid shit like that. But I want to know that like I lived the life that I wanted to live. And so I work now to be able to do the things that I want to do, but I work doing something that I genuinely love. And I think a lot of people mistake that this work thing has to be this grind. If you didn't love what you did, you wouldn't do it, and you would suck ass at it. You love what you do. Deep down, you love what you do. You might not like this. You might not like that. You might want to tweak this.
It's getting old, though.
But yeah.
It's time for a change.
So then change. What's next? What do you want to do?
I got to freaking join your mastermind.
What do you want to do?
Figuring shit
Legitimately,
out.
what do you want to do?
I don't know yet.
Sure you do.
Sounds like
you
like
know what the fuck
doing.
You want to do. What would you, if you could wake up tomorrow morning, so you're in a different spot. Everybody's in a different spot, so I can meet people where they are. You have the financial resources to do whatever the fuck you want to do. So if you could wake up tomorrow morning and do whatever you wanted to do, what would it be?
Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, you do. What would it be? What the fuck would you do tomorrow if you could do anything you wanted?
I'd just go hang out in Greece or Italy or something.
Cool, go do it.
Show my kids the air. Well, if I do, then
go do it.
Then my plane starts to do that. So I got to get this plane on a trajectory where it's in the stratosphere and it just floats by itself.
Could you buy tickets to go to Greece for your entire family tomorrow? Then go do it.
Yes.
Go do it.
Yeah, but my fucking plane's going to crash.
Well, it's
bro.
not going to crash.
It'll
I guarantee
crash.
you the girls who meted me, who spelled my name wrong, they're still going to be here tomorrow. I guarantee you the fridges will still be full. I guarantee you all the lights will still be working and the bills will still be paid. I bet you $1,000.
Yeah, but that's temporary. I want to do something permanent. I can go temporarily. But the question
you
is...
just
is,
said you wanted to go to Greece, so
yeah,
go to Greece.
I'm talking about a life change, not what do I want to do next week.
So let's go smoke a cigar and have a chat and figure out what you want to do.
That's what we need to do.
Maybe it's racing trucks. Maybe it's friggin' building airplanes. Maybe it's going to NASA and getting those blueprints and building a spaceship.
Maybe it's making movies.
Dude, you literally, like, anybody listen to this, and this isn't some hocus-pocus, airy-fairy bullshit. Like, you legitimately, there is not a single motherfucker stopping you from doing anything you want to do. If you want to go kill somebody, you can go do it. Like, you want to go rob a bank, you can go do it. There's literally no one stopping you from doing anything you want to do. You want to go make $100? Go figure out how to make $100 and then go fucking do that. Like, there's this idea that racing trucks is out of my league, or I can't do this, or you literally like hopping on a plane tomorrow and going. There's nobody stopping you from doing that. Maybe that's the ticket. Maybe that's that one thing that you do that's a little bit wild, that's a little bit crazy, that's a little bit quote unquote unorthodox.
Irresponsible.
It's not irresponsible. Think about it, bro.
Well, it's irresponsible to others.
You and I both know if you spent a week in Greece, it wouldn't do shit to your business. Your business would keep running.
Correct.
It would keep growing. So the plane, the trajectory, no. What if that fills the batteries? What if while you're on that trip, all of a sudden that next idea sparks? Then that next idea sparks. Yeah. But until you get into that place of doing what you want to do, that's never going to come because we're living in the same hamster wheel, just spinning, wondering why we can't get a different result. The definition of sanity: banging your head against the wall over and over and over again, trying to get a different result. We're trying to live these beautiful, majestic lives, doing whatever we want, but we're doing the same dumb shit every day. So what if it was one trip? What if you just said, fuck it, went home tonight, bought tickets to Greece, called the peeps, said, hey, hold down the fort for a week, I'll be back in a week. What if that was the one freaking action that sent you on a completely different trajectory?
Yeah. Well, again, it's not a week that I'm worried about, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what it is I want permanently, or can someone just go week to week?
I think permanent's nuts, man. I mean, you and I, everybody listening to this, we're not the same people who were 6 months ago.
But when you threw away your business, you basically said, fuck it, I want to go do this. You were thinking long term. You weren't thinking a week.
I burned it down because I was miserable and I almost killed myself. I put a 9mm in my mouth and I almost ended my life. That's how miserable I was. That's where I was in that frame of mind. Like, I was so down with my divorce and my bankruptcy and everything that I went through, and the market crashed and the whole thing. Like, I went down to that space where I burned it to the ground because it was like I quit juggling the bowling balls.
You were here in Vegas?
No, I was in Utah.
I thought you said you lived up here.
I had a house here.
Oh, okay.
We were balling, homie. We were all over the place. I was here, St. George.
Yeah, because I want to know if you knew a dude here is kind of a developer type named Frank Nielson.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't
well,
sound familiar.
he didn't make the right move. He did put a gun in his head.
Really?
Pop the trigger.
A lot of people do, man. It's crazy. Like,
he had a partner, and apparently IRS came down on him pretty bad. They were fucking the IRS somehow, and he was BK. Like, he was used to making not jet money, but close to it for years, and then the IRS came down, and he was just dicked big time. So, pow.
Yeah. It happens, dude. It's crazy to think right now that male suicide is at an all-time high.
Well, there may be a lot of people listening that are right in that spot.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest they do?
Tell the truth.
Just tell the truth.
Like, legitimately tell the truth. Here's the interesting thing that I've found over the last couple of years, is not only my own personal progression, but like in coaching people. No matter what you do, whether you went to Greece or not tomorrow, I don't give a fuck what you decide to do. Doesn't matter what anybody decides to do. The certainty, the 100% guaranteed certainty, is that you'll be judged either way.
Period.
Like, if you're ripped out of your mind as a bomb,
and by the way, you dropped a lot more bombs. I just forgot to push them.
You see, you're so mesmerized.
You're so.
But think about this: if you're ripped out of your mind, you're doing drugs. You got to be on steroids. If you're fat as shit, you're lazy. If you're wealthy, if you're really, really, really wealthy, you've got to be ripping somebody off. You got to be screwing somebody. You got to be a fraudster. If you're broke, if you're poor, you're just a lazy piece of shit. No matter where you are in life, people are going to judge you. No matter where you are, if you left tomorrow, people are like, oh shit, is Brad met with Sean and now he's in fucking Greece. He's losing his mind. Don't ever talk to that guy. People will judge no matter what you do. No matter where you could sell this entire company and be like, I'm going to go make fucking straw hats in Bora Bora and that's it. And people will be like, yo, he's having a midlife crisis. But what if that's legitimately what you want to do, bro? Because here's a guaranteed fact. You and I are both going to die. And people ask me all the time, what's your biggest fear? My biggest fear is something happening to one of my kids, like getting that phone call. But I legitimately have visualized my death, right? Like I vision stuff all the time. I'm always looking and thinking about stuff. And Tony Robbins talks about the visualization of things. I visualized my death, and I am deathly afraid of being on my deathbed, knowing that God put ideas in here and passion in here, and I squandered it because I was worried about what some asshole on social media might say or one of my family members might say. I'm deathly afraid of knowing at that point in time, I now don't have an option. I don't have an option to go back and go to my kids' soccer games, to go race the Baja 1000 with my kid, to go to Greece. I don't have an option. So when you think back, imagine being on your deathbed knowing that you now don't have an option. Right now, you and I have an option. Right now, every single person listening to this has a fucking option to plant the flag in the ground, go a different direction, make a 1 degree shift and go on a different trajectory. But at some point in time, that you will not have an option. And that's guaranteed, bro. Unless somebody figures out a way to live forever within the next however many years before you and I kick the bucket. Think about that for a second, man. If that doesn't scare the shit out of you and or motivate you to wake up tomorrow morning and do whatever the fuck you want, I don't know what does, but I have visualized that over and over and over again. And that's the reason that I live the life that I live. That's the reason I work with the clients that I work with. That's the reason I'm building the business that I'm building. Because it's like, at some point in time, at some point in time, bro, you won't have an option to buy a ticket to go to Greece.
Yeah. So what about those people that are listening that think, fuck, I ain't got no money to race in the Baja or go to Greece? But I'd love to.
If they're listening right now, I was thinking about this on the way. Will and I were listening to Jocko and to Andy. Think about this for a second. You don't need to do this podcast. It's marketing, and it gets the name out there, and it gets clients. And Andy doesn't need to do jack shit. Ed Milet does not need to be doing a podcast. He's got dope-ass houses. He could be sitting around drinking Mai Tais all day long. He doesn't make any money off that. I don't. You don't. I've never been paid for my podcast. I've got millions of listeners and the whole thing. If you're listening to this right now and you're flat-ass broke, that's your own fucking fault. Because nugget after nugget after nugget after nugget after nugget has been dropped. And I guarantee if people are listening to you, they're listening to all of these other influencers, and it's called influence for a reason. If you're not doing something with it, it's your own damn fault. Period.
See, I'm going to have to bomb that motherfucker right
It's true,
now.
man.
It is true.
Listen, I gave somebody the fucking blueprint right now. I just told you that if you Googled how to build a spaceship, it's out there. Like if you're broke right now, I just told you, go to your fucking basement. I literally showed this model at a flea market in North Carolina that I'd never been to, that I wasn't familiar with. And I turned $5 into $20 in a matter of 20 minutes. If that doesn't, like, if you're not thinking right now, if you're not writing this down, jotting this down, saying, I don't have shit in my bank account, I need $20. I just gave you the blueprint to $20. Now, can I make you get off the couch? No. But don't ever fucking talk to me or to you and say, oh, dude, I'm so motivated. Cool. Did you go into your basement or to your closet and sell shit like Sean said? No. Well, then don't fucking call me. Don't talk to me.
Excuses.
Don't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the real truth, man.
Yeah, and the excuses most people use are
we
all
all
in their
have one,
fucking
bro.
head.
Dude, I'm scheduled to have spine surgery on December 5th. My back is as jacked up as it's ever been. I'm going to race the friggin' Baja. I could make excuse after excuse after excuse.
Does it hurt?
Oh, hell yeah, it hurts, you know? But we're going
You're going to be jumbling around on them fucking jumps?
18 hours, me and Will are going to be in there rallying. I
You
have
ride-
every
you riding with him?
excuse.
Right on, man.
He's my
now
co-driver.
But that sounds cool.
See, I went, so 2 years ago, one of my buddies owns a very, very large company in Utah, and they do $400 million a year. He's got a trophy truck. He called me up and said, yo, do you want to go to the Baja 1000? I said, sure, man. I mean, I didn't grow up with dirt bikes. I grew up in the city. Like, the first time I ever rode a dirt bike was when I was like 20 years old. So he's like, you come down, you teach me some social media strategies and some tactics, and you come down with me. So we jumped on his jet, flew down there, first class, everything, right? Watched him, this is 2 years ago. I watched him finish in the Baja 1000 with his son. He finished in his trophy truck, went back out, jumped in the Razor with his son. I'm standing at the finish line as his son, who was driving, who was 16 at the time, finishes the Baja 1000. And as a father of 2 boys, like, I got emotional. I was like sitting at the finish line watching them take their helmets off, and I started getting emotional. I started crying. I was like, fuck, dude. Like, this is it. This is the jam. Like, what am I doing? This is what I want to be doing. And I literally, I shit you not, I FaceTimed Will, and I was showing him the razor and the finish line. I said, dude, we're going to do this, right? I said, we're going to do this. And I said, you want to do this with me? He's like, hell yeah, Dad, that'd be rad. I don't think he said hell yeah because Mom was sitting right there. But he said, yeah, dude, I'm in. So I came home. I know nothing about off-road racing. I knew I'd never done it before. I'd never raced a truck before. I'd never bought a truck before. I literally came home, got online. I found a race truck. I called my buddy who worked for Nitro Circus. I said, dude, I'm going to Vegas. I need you to come with me because I have no idea what I'm buying. I literally went to the bank, grabbed a stack of cash, came down here. Homeboy came up from California, had the truck on his trailer. I had my trailer. My buddy comes over, says, dude, it's a dope truck. It'd be freaking fun to race. I said, here's the cash, put it on. I didn't own a race helmet. I didn't own race shoes. I didn't know shit about this. I just literally made that declaration. I'm going to do this with my boy. And I made it happen. And now here we are. Like last year we raced he's my co-driver. I told him that. I said, I'm buying this truck. This is our jam. This is going to be our thing. Like, I never threw the football with my dad. I never played catch with my dad. My dad was never around. He was working. He was doing his thing. We never had guys' night. And I was like, I'm going to do this, and this is going to be our jam. Number one, I wanted to do it. Number two, I wanted to do it with my son. And I can talk about how to make money, talk about how to be successful, talk about how to build a fucking life. He and I are literally road tripping right now down to freaking Baja to go race it. I'm going to show him. I'm going to do it because it's what I want to fucking do. Because at some point in time, that option's not going to be there to do it. And so literally, like, we raced the Baja 500 a couple months ago, and here we are to go race, something that some guys literally will spend their entire life saying, oh, it's my bucket list, and you're fucking going to die with it still on your bucket list.
Yep. So if I were wanting to just start doing shit, like going to Greece, obviously I can go to Greece.
Go.
What about, like, how do you figure out what you want more on a permanent basis, or at least a semi-permanent? Like,
how do you build big muscles?
You go to the gym.
You start with the 5-pounders. Then you go to the 10-pounders, and then the 20-pounders. You start with a fucking trip to Greece.
So you just
in the middle of the week,
start doing what you want to do.
You sat down with Sean, and all of a sudden, like, the very first thing that you said, the very first thing that came to your mind. I said, what do you want to do? I don't know. I said, no, what do you really want to do? You're like, I want to go to Greece. Go do that. And then what will happen is, like, just like we do with muscles, just like we do with money, just like we do with everything in our life, like that one little investment, that one little movement. And then it takes you to another movement, and then another movement. And while you're there, like, that's the test. The test was, would I buy a truck? Or do I want to end up with all this cash in my bank when I die? The test is you're sitting here right now saying, fuck, I want to go to Greece. That's not the end game. That's not the long game. That's am I willing right now to, like, really do a pattern interrupt to my entire life and say, all right, I'm going to do something crazy for a second? Because that's probably pretty crazy based off your ritual, based off your systems, based off what you're doing. That'd be pretty fucking nuts. But it's really not that nuts. It's not going to jeopardize your business. It's not going to jeopardize your life, your health, your marriage. It'd probably help all of these things. Why? Because you actually did something that caused you to get outside of this box for a second. Now you're looking at life from a different perspective going, shit, I did that. And the office was still here, and the fridges were still full when I got back, and the names were still misspelled up front, right? The shit keeps going. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I get it. I thought it was funny. Do you see my point?
Yeah.
Like, that's what people are so deathly fucking afraid to do, is to take that one little freaking jump, that 1 degree shift. Like, when you think about flying on an airplane, bro, like, 1 degree shift, you don't notice it. Nobody notices it. Give it a couple extra hours, and next thing you know, you're on a completely different continent. Like, that's the thing that most men, most business owners, most women are deathly afraid to do, is do that one thing that they feel it, right? If you're listening to this right now, you know. Like, if you could wake up tomorrow and go do one fucking thing, there's literally no one stopping you from doing that. No one. No one.
Would you recommend someone does that?
100%. Hell yeah.
All
day long. All day long.
Like
100%.
Every day someone should just get up, do what they want to do.
100%.
What happens when the I mean, for me and you, I don't think the bill knockers will be coming.
Yeah.
And if they do, we're fine. What about regular people?
Dude, you and I are as regular as anything. We just have a couple extra bucks in our pocket.
Well,
you could lose everything tomorrow just as quick as I could lose everything tomorrow.
Yeah, but people that are broke, like, when I say broke, I'm talking about they've got jobs.
Right.
They pay their bills, but that's broke. Like, they don't have millions. They don't have thousands left over. They get a check. They give it to somebody else, and now they're going back to work. Like, those, I think that's more dangerous, by the way, than
Dude,
being
totally
broke.
dangerous. People think a 9-to-5 job is security. It's as dangerous as you could ever be.
I think that's the most dangerous.
You can be dropped up. So think about this for a second. Like, I didn't start with this. I didn't start with the Baja truck, right? When I went through my meltdown and left my marriage and left my business and basically went through my midlife crisis, whatever, I started building a relationship with my ex-wife who I severely hated. Like, I woke up every day and was like, please, God, let her get hit by a bus. Like, if she got hit by a bus today, I'd be like, game on, give me the kids, we're gone, right? I had so much freaking anger. It started with me writing her a letter and then saying nice things and sending nice text messages. Like, I was able to do that. Like, dudes listening right now are like, Sean, that's great, but I'm here. I'm broke. I'm this, I'm that. Like, I bet you $1,000 most of those dudes have fishing poles in their freaking garage, and they could throw their kid in the truck for 2 hours on an afternoon and call in sick or take an extra long lunch and take their kid out fishing for the afternoon. What's stopping you from doing that? Nothing. What's stopping you from taking your wife when you don't have any money to go buy a bottle of Camus or whatever? Go make a fucking picnic lunch, a peanut butter sandwich, and go down by the lake. There's nothing stopping you, man. Like, and this is the thing, I don't give a shit about excuses. There's literally nothing stopping you. And so dads, listen to this. I love, a lot of my clients are men. I work with a lot of women as well, but like I didn't start with this race truck. This race truck was something that, like, when I went through my divorce and my bankruptcy, I went from, 9,000 square foot house into nothing, bro. Like, I built this shit back up. And this is what I want guys to understand is the same thing with you. What would it look like if all of a sudden I did one thing tomorrow? It might not cost any money. I got the fishing pole. I got the tackle. All I got to do is actually take the fucking time and make the commitment and go. A trip to Greece for you wouldn't even notice it. It cost you 50 G's. Fly the family out, buy all the expensive wine, do all the fun shit. You probably, in a lot of cases, might not even notice that. That's not going to be a bump in your 401k or retirement. The question is, will you do it? And that's where most people stay stuck, is that programming. Sit down, quiet down, slow down. We're not willing to fucking do anything that's outside of the box or outside of the norm. And the norm is my pattern, my 9 to 5. I got to go. I got to get my overtime. I got to do this. Well, dude, you haven't been to a kid's soccer game. You don't even know your kid's middle name practically. What would it look like if literally you got off this podcast, you grabbed your fishing pole and you grabbed your son who you have this estranged relationship with, or you haven't done shit with him? What would it look like if you just did that and walked down to the lake and just went fishing for an hour? What if you started there?
How much would it mean to the kid, too?
That's my point, man.
Because when they grow up, because I grew up my dad was there, but he was kind of children should be seen and not heard type of dad, where he just didn't, he worked hard. So, like, he didn't want to be bothered a lot. Yeah. But, definitely no fishing trips. But at the end of the day, man, it makes a big difference in the kid's life, too.
Yeah. Like, I did a video on YouTube a while ago with regards to the racing, and I talked about how I don't remember a lot of the stuff my dad told me, but I remember what my dad showed me, and as a father, I remember that stuff. And if you think your kid's going to be different, we somehow think that we're just going to muscle our way into being a good dad, or somehow our dad was an asshole who didn't do anything, and just because we're cool and we have a nice thing in the podcast and lights that our kid, we're going to be radically different or something. At the end of the day, it's the exact same thing. And this video that I did, I talked about how, I can tell my son how to build a business. I can tell him how to build a life. I can tell him how to do all this shit, or I can show him. And literally, like, this is exactly what we're doing this week, is going down to race the Baja 1000. Like, I'm showing him. We're sitting in here with you. I told him that. I'm like, I'm sitting with Brad. I got meetings tonight in San Diego. I got meetings. I'm speaking in front of 5,000 people tomorrow. Well, most of them are projected to, or whatever. I'll have 5,000 people tuning in tomorrow. He's going to be there the entire time. He's going to be there tomorrow while I'm meeting with my clients and doing everything that I'm doing. It's like I can tell him about this life game, or I can show him. And a lot of guys don't have the luxury to be able to do what you and I do, but that's a bullshit excuse to just grab a fucking fishing pole, to sit down with your kid, to take him to the office, to show him life versus try and talk to him. Because that's the same thing, man. I don't have time. You got to push him to the side. Eventually, he's going to be 18 years old and not give a fuck about you anymore.
And they're gone.
And now at that point in time, it's just like death. You don't have an opportunity to go back. Like, we're going. We're doing this. Like, he's in 20, 30 years, he's going to be like, I raced the Baja 1000 when I was 12 years old, when I was 11 years old with my old man, right? Now, he can do whatever he wants with that. But
you're 11?
12.
Damn.
He's 12.
It's freaking awesome.
He's literally my co-pilot. We'll be on the starting line on Friday, and he will be my co-pilot through the gnarliest, most intense, most prestigious, most fucking dope race on the planet. And to me, it's like I could tell him how to build this cool life and tell him how success looks and tell him what it looks and feels like. He's rolling with me this week. He's going to be with me this entire week with every meeting that I have. I mean, we're here. Like you and I are doing this right now, and he's sitting right here.
What about school? School's done?
Me and
saying,
Mom have
I'll
a problem.
Be back.
Well, Mom wanted him in school, and I'm like, he's going to learn more sitting with me and you than he will in the classroom.
Truth?
You know what I mean?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the programming too.
That is.
As a dad, I'm programmed. He's got to be in school. He's got to do this. He's got to. I'm like, I'm going to be sitting with, a bunch of very, very, very successful men, talking business, talking shop, talking all kinds of different stuff. What he'll learn, I mean, you couldn't replace that with a freaking entire school year.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with school nowadays. I don't understand why they won't change the curriculum.
Yeah.
Like George Washington had wooden teeth. Hallelujah. Have you ever used that, by the way?
No.
No. I'm learning I learned shit like it has no relevance of anything. And
most kids don't even know how to balance a checkbook, bro.
Yeah, but they'll freak if he's out of school for a week.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the hell is he going to miss?
Yeah.
First of all, it's the same shit the whole year long.
Right.
Or at least semester. Or what are they now? Trimesters? I don't even know.
I don't even know. Now they have A and B days and all kinds of other freaking crazy shit. You and I just went and we sat down in a room and had our name across the top of the thing with the ruler and the cursive and the regular and whatever. And it was like, that was what we grew up with. Now it's like, who knows what they're doing.
But what you already hit it on the head. Him going with you is 10 times more valuable than sitting in that classroom for the week.
Yeah.
But the norm, the society will say, if you took him out of class on a regular basis, you are not a fit father. Mm-hmm. It's like, that shit needs to change.
Dude, my daughter is very much like me. She sucks at math, right? I suck at math. I'm terrible at math. I just pay people to do math for me, right? But she's a phenomenal artist. And so she was failing math in her school, but the school commissioned her to do this huge 10-foot eagle, this big wire metal eagle, because she was so fucking talented. But she's getting in trouble in school. And I'm sitting back looking at this paradox going we're telling this child that she's in trouble, that she's whatever, when the reality is she's extremely gifted over here, And I understand that you need to learn fundamentals and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, man, I want to let my kids grow and go where they succeed, where they're. I mean, I'm helping my daughter with art right now and building up an art presence online and using social media. She's 15.
Yeah, I'll bet you she has all the math she'll ever need already.
I bet you she'll be making more money by the time she's 20 than her 50-year-old teachers. I don't say that with any disrespect. I'm just saying simply because that's the day and age we're in. That's the reality of life.
How far in math did you get?
I don't even remember. That you're asking me to do math.
No. Well,
I have to count backwards and figure out how far. I don't even know, dude.
I can tell you that
I know the stuff they bring home from school, I can't do. The shit they bring home from school, most of it I can't do.
Yeah, well, I don't think any adult can because I think you forget. Like I always say, 10 out of 7 people don't understand fractions.
If the tree's this tall and the sun's over here and the Pepsi bottle's over there, how far is the shadow going where Brad, is juggling all of his M&Ms? It's like, who the fuck cares, man? What's my P&L? What's our EBITDA? Are we up? Are we down? Are we red? Are we black? You know what I mean?
Or how do you close a deal, build a relationship?
Yeah.
What's truly valuable?
Yeah,
George Washington had wooden teeth, son. Remember that.
Yeah.
What for?
That is pretty cool, though, to think about wooden teeth. How do you put wooden teeth in?
I would imagine they're like dentures.
I don't know. Are they just glued in there? What kind of glue did they have back in those days, dude? That's pretty gangster for being George Washington, being on,
Who knows if he even had wooden teeth?
What if he didn't? What if it's just total folklore? They're like, we've been programmed to believe George Washington had wooden teeth.
Did he try?
You're almost 50. I'm almost 40, and here we are talking about George Washington's wooden teeth.
Will, did you hear that he chopped down a cherry tree? What for? Why did he chop it down? Huh?
He had nothing better to do, man.
But listen, I mean, seriously, why don't we alter our educational curriculum or curricula?
Dude,
if you want to call it that.
I think most parents, I'm one of them, and I know, you and I talked about this before. We almost homeschooled this year. Like I was going to hire a teacher to teach them.
I'm about to do that.
Yeah. I mean, because I wanted my kids to be in the public school system to get the bumps and the bruises and the stuff that you and I got and whatever. And, you can talk private school, this, that, the other. But like, I'm in the frame of mind where I look at it now. It's like, oh, well, he missed a week of school. I'm like, I don't give a shit, man.
Especially, school. But think about this, bro. Nowadays, with these fucking nut jobs shooting the place up, like, dude, if anything happens to my kids at a school, I might go shoot the place up,
dude.
Like I got my kids in a fairly secure school. They've got like dudes on the roof, and at the gates. It's a private school, and it's like every time I walk out of there, I'm like, dude, why you need people up there? Like, I'm glad they're up there, but what the shit? What the hell is going on nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too is. It's the social media aspect. So we have a lot more exposure to instantaneous stuff.
But why not just
There's been
homeschool?
Shootings all the time. There's all kinds of freaking madness going on, all over our society.
The only reason I don't like homeschool idea is because of the friends thing.
Yeah.
Like
So here's what we do. We build out a platform, with you guys, and you build out, you get the coolest teachers in town. You have, kindergarten through 12th grade, kids go there, and then we organize our social days, and they have a day or 2 or 3 or 2 hours a day where they go do the social stuff, which is what they should be doing, which is beating the shit out of each other on the playground, playing dodgeball, playing, what did we play when we were kids? Smear the Queer and Red Rover. My kids can't even fucking play tag anymore. They get in trouble for playing tag. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, I tell him to play Red Rover, and he's like, Dad, we can't.
You're going to get in trouble calling it Smear the Queer.
That's what we call it. Did we call it Smear the Queer?
That's what it was.
You can't even say that shit now. That's how fucking insane shit is. Like a game that everybody practically listening to this played years ago. Ooh, it's taboo. You can't say it because it says queer. Why? It's the name of the fucking game.
Yeah, you can't say Smear the Queer nowadays. You're going to get hate mail.
I already
from
get
the
hate
queers.
mail, dude. Just bring it on.
Or there's...
Here's why.
How do you fix it though? I don't think you can fix it. That's why I just want to almost
fix
opt
school.
out. Yeah, you just.
Here's
I'm going to
why
bring them home.
out.
I'm going to start schooling them at home. The only thing is where do they get their friends?
Lead, dude. This is what I've learned is I can pull myself out. Andy was talking about this on his Sunday sermon. He had kind of his meltdown and went ballistic over like politics and the whole thing. You have the ability to just disappear. I have the ability to disappear. I can go buy a house in the woods and nobody would ever fucking see me again. I can shut off everything, and who knows when Sean Whalen ever dies, right? That's an option. It's a very viable option to go live my own life and tell the entire world to piss off. On the flip side of that is like an accountability and responsibility that I feel to the information I've been given and to the expectations that I believe in God. I don't think this all happened by a bunch of rocks colliding in the cosmos. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a responsibility to say what needs to be said, and that's whether people believe it or agree with it. It's totally fine. It's up to them. But if you were to start something like that, I bet you anything that there's probably hundreds of other parents right around here that would say, "Amen, I'm in." Now, who's going to stop you from doing that? Who's gonna stop you from leading that and saying, "Here's how I'm educating my kid," and you'll get hundreds, and then that'll grow to thousands, and then potentially millions of people of doing that. Like, to me, that's the responsibility.
Dude, I like that idea.
I love the idea of making money and disappearing and doing my own thing, but at the end of the day, like, for what? For what purpose? Just to be able to be a greedy son of a bitch up by myself on my own little cabin in the mountains with my dogs? That sounds great, and I'll go do that every now and again, but, like, I feel like guys like you and I have been given a voice for a reason, right? I have a skill set for a reason. This didn't just pop in for nothing. I believe everybody has a skill set. The question is with this experience that we're having in life, like, are you willing to go down the rabbit hole to really figure out who the fuck you are? Like, really go down this rabbit hole and then stand in a place of power and certainty to shine that light. That's why, the lighthouse and the tugboat concept. Like, when you stand there, like, you're exposed. Birds are going to shit on you. The waves are going to fucking hit you. The storms are going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. The question is, will you continue to stand and shine your light? Because if you started a school like that, I guarantee you hundreds of, if not thousands of people would probably participate in that. That's kind of how I look at Lions Not Sheep, is this consciousness, this revolution of literally people saying, well, if I'm broke, I can't do anything. Great, go make $5. I've shown you how to do it. If you really wanted to make $5, you go fucking do it. If you don't, then just sit back and stop lying and sit on the sidelines, right? It's the same reality like you have. If you started that school If you started like, here's the new world, here's the new curriculum, here's the new schooling system, you could completely take over.
And I think it would work.
It would work.
Dude, I wrote it down.
I'm telling you, it would work.
Woodwork. We wouldn't offer
100%.
woodwork.
Woodwork? Do I get 50%, right?
We wouldn't offer
50-50.
You know, I tell you, if you want to get in on that, you
Let's
better
go.
get in where you
I'm
fit
in.
'cause
Ground
I'm
floor.
thinking about doing that shit.
I'm
You know
telling
how
you
many
right
parents
now,
would want to? If I just got
thousands.
If I said, listen, your kid could get killed today at school.
Right.
Why don't you just homeschool them? Here's the curriculum. Here's the passwords. And if you want to do it yourself, like you can't afford, what do you call them? Them tutors or whatever, the homeschool teachers. If you can't afford that, guess what? Do it your fucking self.
Yeah. You sit him down in front of a computer to learn the basic stuff. Like, we don't give a shit if a kid wants to find out if George Washington had wooden teeth, let him go figure that out on his own. Teach him the fundamentals, the real shit that's going to help him succeed in life. Then let's organize play dates and whatever, school dates, and we go play dodgeball, kickball, smear the queer, whatever the hell. We let them beat each other up. We come home, there's our social interaction.
Or just your basic shit, bro. Yeah. I mean, how many kids graduate school dumber than shit anyway?
Oh, a majority of them.
A majority.
You know.
So here with the homeschool, I'll teach the parent what to do during the 4 hours a day, 2-3 hours a day. And by the way, when all those Richies that I know, I call freaking Richies.
Mm-hmm.
The Richies that I know that have homeschool, they're only fucking doing shit 2 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah, that's all you need anyways.
Right. And
your bandwidth is gone as a kid.
Man. Read this book, do this exercise. But who's the judge? Who decides what a kid needs to know and what they don't need to know? Is there some sort of accrediting body that has to authorize this shit? What does a homeschool accreditation look like? I'm going to go do the homework.
See, I don't think you need that. Who needs that? We talked about this with college. What? So
you might
Harvard,
go to jail.
Harvard or for what?
I don't know.
For being a free man?
I know that
for creating something that's good for fucking human beings.
I know if you don't give your kids a shot, they can't go to school.
Who? If you started a school, this is like where we start getting real fucking deep with like political government stuff. Who's stopping you from starting a better way of doing things?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Matter of fact, I've been thinking lately about, man, what can I build as a product? Because I keep building everybody else products.
Yeah.
And everybody else has products. Some of them are doing millions per month. Some of them are doing 50,000 a month. But that recurring revenue, it freaking helps you be a lion and not a sheep.
Yeah.
When you're not tied to a fucking job or someone else, you know, it really helps you start to think about and execute on what do I really want. Now, you're not limited by that, because I agree with you. You know, it's excuses if you don't do it, because anyone can do it. But I also realize that it's a lot harder when you got to fucking pay rent. So you know, I'd love to go race the Baja, and I'm not talking about me.
Yeah.
But I got a fucking job and I got to pay bills. Oh, okay. Well, then, you know, put Baja to the side because you got responsibilities. Recurring revenue helps that. I've been thinking, you know, I've been building so many people different products and watching them all kill it. And I just take a little sliver to deliver, little piece for my niece. And I'm thinking, man, I need a product, but I don't want to compete. Like, again, I'll outclose anybody you know on my platform. Anybody. I can teach sales like it's going out of style, but if I do, you're competing with me. It's not fair. So guess what? I just haven't. That no
school.
Nobody's
Kids.
no. I wouldn't be competing with any current client. Homeschool. How do you do it? Thousands and thousands and millions of parents would want that. I bet.
Now let's ratchet it up to another level. Okay, I'm gonna earn my 50% right here. Will, you watching this? So you're worried about accreditation, right?
Yeah.
Harvard's not gonna let you in. Columbia's not gonna let you in. Start your own fucking university that becomes the most prestigious, that's spitting out the smartest motherfuckers on the planet. So you now own the entire game.
And they will.
And now every
will
single
accept.
employer is going to be like, oh shit, you went to Harvard or you went to Brad University? Harvard's dog shit. Brad University is where all the smart kids are coming out. Now you own the entire game. So you don't need accreditation. Fuck your accreditation. I don't need to worry about Yale, Harvard, Columbia. Because the parents that put their kid in this school now, I don't give a. You and I both know, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to one of these schools, unless you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant, it's worthless.
Yeah.
So now you own the entire game. So you start from K up to 12. Now where does the kid? My daughter, she's excelling in art. Awesome. You go to the school at Juliet. Isn't Juliet the piano joint? Whatever, like really good piano kids. Piano players, who knows that?
Yeah.
What isn't that what I'm talking about?
Juilliards.
Juilliard, whatever the hell it is. I don't know how many piano players, whatever. You go get some of the baddest motherfuckers from those places. You bring them in, and now you have like the most eclectic university on the planet that's spitting out the top performers on the planet. And then the kids too that just want to go work at a manufacturing job or this or that or the other. You don't even need an accreditation. You are the accreditation. You do your own deal. You run it soup to nuts.
I got to come up with a good name.
Let's do it, dude. Let's go have a cigar and we'll come up with a good name. We just came up.
What? Okay, thanks. I'll be right there.
We just came up with an entire new deal.
And you want 50%?
Think about it, dude. I'll bring so many people into this. It's not even funny.
Well, I was going to say, because you could open that up to educators.
Dude, the sky's the...
collaborators.
The amount of people that would jump behind this, when you and I think, I'm always thinking like the biggest. I don't worry about accreditation. As a father, I don't give a damn if Harvard, Columbia, Yale, Stanford want to take him. I don't give a shit because he's going to Brad and Sean University, and Brad and Sean University is going to give him everything he needs to go do what? This. And then he's really fucking good at this. You know what I'm saying? That's all we want for our kids. They graduate with these, dude, there's $1.7 trillion of student debt. Put that in your pipe and smoke it for a second. The average person is paying off their student debt at 41 years old. Think that through for 2 seconds, bro. You're talking about competing with ultimately the largest freaking racket on the planet, which is a college education.
You could also freaking end up making this free if you wanted.
Dude, my wheels are already spinning, bro.
Free homeschooling. Imagine.
I'm already imagining. Man.
I don't want to go too
start?
far, though. I don't want to go too far.
When do we start?
Like free's a little too easy.
Dude, there's so many ways to There's so many ways to monetize this. There's so many freaking ways to do this deal. Kids are going to college paying $300 for a book. Are you out of your freaking mind?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind? You literally, when you talk about what your next project is, when you talk about going to Greece, whatever, this is why you got to go to Greece, because this entire thing will come. And you text me and we'll go back and forth and ping ideas, but like you literally create an entirely new reality. This is where most people fail. They won't do it. Oh, it's too big. It's too this. And what about this? And what about this? Like at the end of the day, like somebody invented the light and the car and the microphone
and an airplane
and a bottle to put water in and a plane that flies 500 miles an hour. Somebody went completely against the entire freaking grain of what was humanly possible and created what we now take for granted.
Yeah.
We're sitting here right now. We just created a completely new reality of education where we don't even need anybody else. We don't care about anybody else. We have the entire system.
And you can start with I have the system. Just start with the freaking basic shit. It can evolve to where we just started what will soon be this big A to Z.
Dude, medical schools. Like you can take this thing to the freaking moon, bro. You can take this to the moon.
It's like a law degree. You realize if you wanted to be a lawyer, you have to go to a law school. They don't care that you can pass the bar. They want you to go to this school. That part blows my mind.
Did you know you can go to California right now and without having a JD, without having a Juris Doctorate, you can take the bar exam and pass the bar and become a certified lawyer?
Can you?
Yes.
Well, that's the first thing
Think
that
about
makes
that.
sense. Yeah, but
Think
that's
about
smart. Because
I'm pretty sure it's California.
I was bitching the other day that why do they care if you went to school for a certain amount of hours? If you can pass the damn bar, then you're a lawyer, right? That should be the same thing with anything.
Isn't that the quantification? Like when we look at a lawyer, we hire a lawyer. It's like, I don't ask what school he went to. Like, you know what I mean?
It doesn't matter what school you went to. It doesn't matter. Like we deal with some of these accrediting bodies in certain industries that we're in, or not we're in, but we're helping people that are in, and their rules are ridiculous. Like they'll say, well, they need to be online at least 4 hours. And I'm like, who gives a shit how long they were online for?
As an entrepreneur, do you care if your guys took 6 hours to set up the lights or 2 hours to set up the lights and then played video games for the other 4? If the job was to set up the friggin' lights, I don't give a shit if you go to the moon. I don't care how you do it as long as the lights get set up. That's entrepreneurialism. That's success. That's what we're like failing to do. We're trying to micromanage who put the lights up and how they put. Who gives a shit? The lights are up. Done.
Yeah, and working well.
Dude, let's rework the game, bro.
Dude, I'm down. I don't know about you, but I'm not even shitting about this.
Dude, I told you, I almost hired a teacher. If you look through my social media posts, you'll see me asking for references for teachers. I was going to hire a full-time teacher and take all 3 of my kids out of school and have them be homeschooled this year. Like, I'm in 100% right now. I'm telling you before God my child, these lights, and these assholes standing over here. Let's do it.
All right, fair enough. Folks, listen up, man.
We could keep going.
Well, we could keep going, but hey, why don't you stop back through on the way back home? Do
Done.
one more.
Done.
All right, good. When are you coming back home?
Sunday. If everything, unless we get stranded out in the desert, it's a wild card.
Yeah, but if you don't, I'll
Sunday.
open up Sunday.
Done.
When you're passing through, just text me. I'll come down here. We'll
I got
pick up another
more
one.
cigars in my truck than I know what to do with. We'll save 2. We'll figure out how to change the entire education system on the planet.
Fair enough. You guys heard it. Listen, go follow this dude. I'm telling you right now, you spell his name right. SeanWhalen.com. Sean Whalen. And by the way, if you guys want to frickin' get somebody to help you with this, you do have a coaching program.
Yeah, I do. If you go to SeanWhalen.com or lionsnotsheep.com, I've got group coaching and different groups that I do and a lot of one-on-one coaching. So, yeah, it's all there.
Don't make excuses, folks. Follow this cat, and on Sunday we're going to do a special broadcast. I'm gonna dig into this homeschool VT. I'm not shitting.
I'm not either.
Till next time, kids. That'd be worth
billions. You have any idea how many ways you can monetize that? I'm not joking you, bro. Like the problem.